All right, Nerdy Bones back in the studio. What's up, Nick?
What's up, Keith?
I'm.
It was super low energy, wasn't
What's up, Keith?
I just wanted to mess with you a little bit.
Today we're doing the two Captain Marvels. Honestly, is what it is. Shazam was the first Captain Marvel, and then we have the Marvel Captain Marvel.
Marvel.
You know, and it was kind of an interesting thing, is because Shazam came out first.
Yeah.
And a lot of people...
well before.
Yeah, and a lot of people actually just thought that his name was Shazam because the book was called Captain Marvel, and his whole thing is be like, Shazam!
Yeah.
You know, so, but we'll get into that.
Oh, yeah.
But, and I'm actually really excited, before we get started, I want to talk about, because I'm really excited about next week's episode.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I really want to, drop, dude, that's going to be good. We'll give the listeners a little bit.
Yeah, I know we're only on this week's episode, but just to give you a little...
Well, I'm excited for this.
Do you really want to get a preview for next week already?
Yes, dude.
Okay, so next week, I'm going to be talking about something actually that's really personal to me, and it's this thing called the Camino de Santiago. It's the Way of St. James.
That's awesome, dude.
And
I'm
mainly going to be telling... I'm going to tell a little bit of the history of it and what it is, but I'm also going to tell you about my experience on it.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring it up off the top of the hat, because your passion for it, I'm just...
You kind of brought me down a little bit, man.
Nah,
not in a bad way.
But... All right. So,
but I'm going to have a lot to talk about next week. Without further ado,
let's just start it off with this.
Yeah.
Chosen from among all others by the immortal elders Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, Mercury, Billy Batson and his mentor travel the highways and byways of the land on a never-ending mission to right wrongs, to develop understanding, and to seek justice for all. In time of dire need, young Billy has been granted the power by the immortals to summon awesome forces at the utterance of a single word.
All right, I have to stop it there. That's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite things about, because this is one comic book I used to read a lot.
Okay. And I want to say to you, we're doing this because Shazam. From the time we're recording this, it actually comes out like 2 days.
Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel came out maybe 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and one of the big things is why we picked these two topics.
It is weird how it is weird though how those two came out so close to each other.
And one of the big things why we picked these two topics is they were both known by the name Captain Marvel.
Yeah. Whoa.
I don't know what that was, but they were both known by the name Captain Marvel, which I'll get into there. But originally named Captain Marvel is where I want to start them off from. Is that he was actually created by C.C. Beck. I couldn't find what C.C. stood for.
Okay.
C.C. Beck was the artist, and Bill Parker was the writer that created Captain Marvel. And they put out their first book in 1939 under Whiz Comics #2.
Yeah. I saw a little bit about this. It was the first one was kind of a throwaway. It was more of a promotional.
Yeah, well, they actually came up with there
was a couple different alternate titles too.
Captain Thunder.
But there was the name of the comic was it became Whiz Comics.
Whiz, yeah.
But there was Flash Comics and
Flash Comics,
and there was one other one.
Yeah. But I'll get into later.
But they were kind of throwaway titles.
Yeah, they were trying to come up with a hero. Yeah, because Batman at the time was on the scene.
Well, they kind of were honestly trying to make Superman.
Superman.
But we're going to get into that with copyright.
Yeah, I'm going to get into that.
Yeah.
So just to give you to the uninitiated, Billy Batson was an orphan living in an orphanage, and he ends up running away. And basically in the OG comic book, he ends up in a sewer and comes across the wizard's Shazam.
There's two different origins. There's the old one.
This is the old one,
and then there's new one. And but I think I saw something earlier about this. The old one, he meets some random stranger guy. And I thought this was super creepy. It was wow, stranger danger type shit.
It's I'm gonna touch you.
And he meets a guy. And I didn't actually read the comic, but I saw a video on it. So from Variant actually.
Variant's an awesome
on YouTube.
Awesome fucking.
Oh, they're a good resource. Yeah. That and Comics Explained, two absolute best. So anyway, he meets this guy in the subway, and the guy's well, you should come out, hey, come back with me on my train. So that was super creepy. And I guess the train turns into this vehicle with writing on it, but then he follows him down. Yeah,
and that's kind of an interesting thing because at that point, it's you kind of in the 30s, you don't really
Well, this is early. This is 1940.
Well, it's 39 was his debut in the comic books.
Okay. And Superman, just to give context, I think was 38.
38, you're right.
38.
Batman was 32.
I think it was January 38.
Yeah. So it's kind of an interesting...
January or February, one of two.
Well, it's an interesting thing in this day and age. In that day and age, they were trying to come up with new characters and try to bring new stuff to the readers and try to make it palatable.
Yeah, but Shazam was a total ripoff of Superman.
I'm going to get into that.
I know.
I'm going to get into that. So what I want to start off with is the name Shazam is an acronym.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start off with Solomon, which is S, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Hercules, we have Atlas, we have Zeus, Achilles, and then Mercury.
Mm-hmm.
So Shazam. And like the big thing is like everybody thought that was his name. Mm-hmm. Like they thought the book was just Captain Marvel and then this character is Shazam. And one of the cool things through sales, he was actually in early 1940. He was the most popular superhero.
Oh yeah, no, he outsold Superman.
Yeah, he was
for a little while actually.
He was the most.
And DC got pissed about that.
He was like the most popular superhero. Like everybody was just buying his book up, because he was like.
Wasn't DC known as something else at the time?
Yeah,
Timely.
I think it was Timely Comics. No, that's Marvel. Marvel was Timely Comics.
Okay, well, but I don't know if you said like Fawcett.
Fawcett
put out Shazam.
Yeah, well, DC ended up buying Fawcett.
It's like fucking in the 90s.
Yeah, well, eventually. Yeah. Eventually. But so just kind of like just give a backstory of like who Shazam is. Mm-hmm. Like he was a superhero that had the powers of the Immortals. Yeah. And he had what was called the Marvel family.
Mm-hmm. And Mary Marvel.
Mary Marvel and then Captain Marvel Jr.
Which was what's his name? I think he's actually his best friend in the new movie.
Yeah. I didn't write his name down.
Oh man, what the hell?
Well, dude, there's like so much to write down about these two characters. That's like, true. Oh my god! And one of the cool things,
but he was one of his foster brothers.
Most likely is the case. Okay, like I said, I read a lot of the books, but I read most of like the Silver Age stuff. Yeah. So Shazam was actually the first hero to be made into a film ever.
Yeah, he predated Superman and Batman too.
Yeah, 1940.
I think he predated Superman by like 7 years.
Yeah, he was the very first superhero to be made into a film ever. And like I was watching like some of the old Shazam like TV show and movie stuff. He was a fucking savage, dude. Yeah, like he was like throwing people up against walls and like crushing heads and shit like that.
Well, one thing I heard too is like actually the early Shazam stuff was pretty well written.
Yeah, well, I've been watching it recently. Just
I'm not talking about the TV. I'm talking about the comic.
Yeah,
the early comics were actually like decently written.
Well, they
I mean, because I think about I'm saying decently written because I'm thinking about like early like Superman or Batman. They're kind of a little like
campy.
Yeah, wooden dialogue and stuff. Yeah. I mean,
well, they dealt a lot with like mythology.
Yeah,
like because that's where he got his powers from. He had like the speed of Mercury, the strength of Zeus, or
I could be talking about the ones that were in the '60s as well. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think I've ever actually read like a full like Shazam comic.
It's good stuff, man. Yeah. It's good stuff.
I've read stuff with him in it.
Well,
and seen stuff.
There's for a lot of people, he's a supporting character.
Yeah.
And unless you're like a specific fan of the character, he's kind of like a supporting character because he was part of the JLA.
Well, because he's a kid. I mean, he kind of.
Yeah.
I always loved him.
Well, I'm gonna get into Kingdom Come to where he's an actual an adult.
No, I love that book.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think where I really ended up getting to know him most was probably like Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah. And
the cartoon.
The thing is I'm going to get into this like in Kingdom Come is like he's a rival for Superman. Like
it's been so long since I read Kingdom Come.
Well, like here's the big thing is Superman is weak to magic. Captain Marvel is magic.
Well, actually, that's one thing you didn't mention is he was when he got his powers from the wizard ended up dying, but he was actually his powers are based in magic, and he was actually supposed to be the defender of magic.
Yes, exactly. Well, the name Shazam has actually moved on from more than one person, and that's where you can kind of.
Well, the Marvel family, I think, is they get all their powers from because Billy Batson Shazam end up sharing his power with the rest of
the Marvel family.
Marvel family,
yeah. And that's the thing is like he's got so much power that like imagine Superman being like, okay, here Lois, have a little bit of this, like have a little bit of.
Well, that. Yeah, and he goes toe. I mean, he's got every ability Superman has, I guess.
Well, I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get into that.
But one thing I would point out is like people are like, oh well, who can win in a fight? And I'm gonna just put that away right now.
For me, it's Shazam.
Well, it's pretty much like one of those things. It's like, well, whoever the writer is, that's who wins.
Right.
It's like Superman versus Flash. It's like, well, whoever the writer is.
So okay, let me phrase it this way. Okay, so say it's a toe-to-toe Shazam Superman. Shazam uses a bolt of Zeus, which is one of his things, which would be magic.
Yeah,
and that would lay Superman out. But they've never they've had them go at it.
Interesting debate.
They've had them go at it before, but they've never taken in the magic thing, and you can cast a spell on Superman.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Okay.
So
we're not getting to that debate. That was an old.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
But then I want to get into the TV series in 1970, and it was called the Adventures of Captain Marvel, and Tom Taylor played the captain, and Frank Cochon is Chohoan played Billy.
Cochon.
Yeah, but that was the what we played was that.
So how many years was that show on?
It's 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah,
okay.
it went to 1972.
How many episodes?
I didn't write down the episodes. I guess I should have written that
the
down.
way it is back then, it was probably 40 episodes.
Yeah. So in 1972, Fawcett sold the rights to the name Captain Marvel to...
No, that's not true.
Tell me, fix it.
So what happened was in the 60s, they let the name Captain Marvel lapse.
That's what it is.
They let the copyright lapse in the 60s, and by that time, Marvel Comics... picked it up.
I'm glad you were able to.
They picked it up and they created Captain Marvel, Captain Marvel.
MAR-VALL.
Yeah, well, they created Captain Marvel Captain Marvel. But by then, they honestly, it was what happened was they just lost the trademark on it, which I'm sure Marvel was really happy about.
I'm glad that you have some input on that because I read 3 different things.
Well, that's around the time when I think it was early 70s. They started making actually Shazam comics again through DC.
Yes.
And the first issue was called Shazam. It was it said the original Captain Marvel, but I guess so for whatever reason they were able to use it at that time, even though by that time Marvel owned the trademark.
Yes.
So it was they went to Marvel hey, can we use this one time? But after that, it always just said Shazam,
right? And
it was never referred to as Captain Marvel.
Well,
again.
And like I said, the big thing is there's so many things on the internet that I went and read that a lot of them were conflicting.
Yeah,
it's well, on the
That's
podcast,
the internet for you, man.
It's like on the podcast, what do I say is the thing,
Yeah. But that was the whole thing was and then because at one point I think during the 40s or so DC. I don't think you brought it up. Was DC actually sued Fawcett? Over Shazam?
Yeah.
Because they said it was a ripoff of Superman.
Yeah.
And DC actually won.
Yeah.
Because there was some story that I heard was when they were creating Shazam, the guy who created Shazam, I guess, he went to the writers' room and was like, "Hey, create me a Superman. Make me a Superman. Make me a Superman." And so. I guess that because of that whole reason, Fawcett lost the whole lawsuit, and had to stop doing the comic. But then of course, DC started optioning. Fawcett
eventually,
to use the character.
Eventually DC bought the character.
Yeah, it was but it took 20 years. It was 20 years in between.
Yeah.
The lawsuit.
Well, he was out of print for a long time.
I don't think they actually bought the character until the 90s though.
I have it written down as 1991.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, that's what I have it written down. It was they actually bought the character in 1991.
Okay.
And then they rebranded it as Shazam.
They had to. Because
the big thing is that everybody already thought the name of the character was just your casual reader was oh, this is the book is called Captain Marvel, but this guy's name is Shazam because it's just
that's a good point.
So Marvel just went with it.
Yeah.
Or not, I'm sorry, DC just went with it.
They kind of had to.
They're okay, this is Shazam. And come on,
I'm sure there's probably some throwaway joke in Shazam about oh, we should call you Captain Marvel. It's no, that's a dumb name.
Shazam, son. And
what about I'm gonna wait for that because we're we're probably gonna see it next week.
Yes,
we'll probably go and see it before we record the next Nerdy Bones.
Yep.
And I'm sure there'll be some.
There's gonna have to be. Yeah. And the big thing that I think is really cool about this is how many characters do you know that their name is an acronym for fucking immortals?
No.
That's pretty badass, dude. That's pretty badass.
Yeah. So what do you got next?
So, like, what I was getting at was people thinking his name was Shazam.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the big things I wanted to get into was just like his stories.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a rogues gallery of enemies. Like there was Captain Nazi.
Oh yeah,
I
think it's still a big one. Maybe.
Yeah, there was.
Although they probably will never do Captain Nazi in
you
films.
can't do that, dude.
Well, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing Shazam versus Captain Nazi.
Well, it's almost like the Red Skull.
Because I would love to see a comic book character beat the shit out of a Nazi. Of course, there's probably gonna be like Nazis. It's like the game Wolfenstein, like some of the newer ones. The whole game is about killing Nazis.
All right.
And there were people who came in and were like bitching about killing Nazis. It's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Cap did that. Fucking Big Blue Superman did that.
I'm sorry, killing Nazis is always a good
Superman,
thing.
or like you said, killing Nazis is always a target that we're allowed to go at.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but
and not necessarily. Well, I'm not.
We're talking about World War II Nazis. Is what we're talking.
And I'm talking about in video games. I'm not talking about like real people. Now.
We're not advocating.
I don't like those people at all, though. Those people can fucking fuck off.
I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. So I got Captain Nazi. I got Mr. Mind.
Yeah,
Mr. Mind plays a big role in Kingdom Come. And then the big one that's like that encompasses is the Society of Evil.
Oh yeah, that was actually the first kind of thing, like society. Like they had like a Society of Evil. It was like a bunch of like reptilians and aliens. And shit.
Yes. But
it was the very first like kind of what's it in the Justice League, like the Society of Doom, or what is that?
Doom Patrol.
No. I'm talking about like Lex Luthor was part of it.
Oh yeah, Legion of Doom.
Legion of Doom. That's the one thing.
Legion of Doom. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like that. That was like the first kind of Legion of Doom.
Well, Legion of Doom is a big player in Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
So,
but that's what I kind of want to bring up was like Shazam's like that or what were they called again?
The Society of Evil.
Society of Evil. They predated. Again,
Legion of Doom.
Legion of Doom. Sorry.
Well, here's the big thing with Shazam: is it Shazam, Captain Marvel, OG Captain Marvel predates a lot of the stuff that we would like. A lot of the stuff that, say, you're just layman comic book fan, wouldn't. A lot of stuff that comes from like Fawcett Comics. A lot of stuff that you read right now is kind of based on a lot of the stuff that they came up with.
Oh, yeah.
As far as like like the way their villains work, like like when you got Superman and Captain Marvel, and the whole lawsuit of like Captain Marvel being a copy of Superman. Here's the big thing: is it won out so much to where they just bought the rights and brought the character over.
Yeah, that's true. Because he was such a good character, like you're saying about how he outsold Superman.
Yeah, for a long time.
For a while.
A long time.
And honestly, I think it was just because kids really were able to connect with him.
Well, because he was a kid.
They did that well. Because it was this kid became a superhero, became an adult.
Yeah.
And he had to deal with like, okay, and it's like, because it's like every kid's fantasy of like, oh, I want to be a superhero.
All I got to do is say this word. All I got to do is say this word, and I'm a superhero.
And they were able to relate to that. It's like, oh, what would I do?
Well, like one of my things
I guess that's one thing the movie's kind of gotten right.
That's what I was about to say. One of the things that I really enjoy about this new movie coming up is you see him like acting like a kid.
Yeah.
Like buying bubble gum and
Well, I guess to come back to villains, Dr. Savannah is the main villain, but I guess he's more about like he's more kind of put in there to develop the character.
Right.
That's what I heard. But you didn't even mention the biggest one, which is Black Adam.
Well, did you beat me to it?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Black Adam matches the powers of Shazam.
Because he used to be.
He used to be Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And
I think actually he was the one who ended up killing, after like a bunch of, I'm sure, storylines that got all convoluted. He was the one who actually ended up killing Billy's parents.
Right. Yeah. But the big thing about sorry. The big thing about Black Adam is he is Shazam's equal.
Oh yeah.
And that's
complete and total equal.
And that's what gets kind of scary.
Yeah.
And there's one story arc in the comics. I think it's called Rise of Black Adam. I think is what it's called.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be one of the best. It was a JSA, right?
Yeah. Where Black Adam actually gets imprisoned inside of the Earth, and he takes that time because he can't physically move, and he takes that time to kind of like train his brain on the spells on the spell, because the whole thing is Shazam. Honestly, at its core, he's a spellcaster. Like that's the big thing. You know, like think about like the thunderclap that Shazam does, like his big, like his big like trademark move. You know, like all these characters have like trademark moves, but the thunderclap from Shazam is when he goes like claps his hands together and lightning flies out from it. That's a spell.
Okay.
That's a spell. Oh. You know, like so like Shazam or Black Adam takes that time to go through and learn how to, like, he's physically immobilized. So he takes the time in his mind to like, oh, how does this spell get stronger and stuff like that. Yeah. So like when Rise of the Black Adam comes across, you know, like he comes up out of the ground, out of a volcano actually. And the Justice League is there, and fucking I'm going to use this word. He fells Superman with one punch.
Whoa.
Yeah. So
that's big.
Yeah. So like Black Adam is one of these characters you can't discount.
Yeah, I guess they're saying like, and it was good. You know, it's good that they didn't try to just bring Black Adam in right away for the Shazam movie.
Well, it wouldn't.
Well, apparently they want to do
The Rock.
Well, no, well, yeah, they've actually The Rock's been like in place for like fucking years.
Yeah,
want
dude,
to be Black Adam.
He'd be so perfect.
No, he's gonna be perfect. But
So
apparently they
perfect.
want to do a Black Adam movie before they do a Shazam, or before
I could
they do
get behind
like a
that.
Shazam Part 2
I could
with
get
Black
behind
Adam. And I think I'm totally for that actually. Like,
Yeah.
please do the Black Adam movie before you do a Shazam 2.
Yeah, dude. Like Black Adam.
I would actually like. I don't really ever go. I pretty much never go see movies with The Rock in it. Even though, not to say I don't enjoy movies with The Rock, because I did actually love that Jumanji
and Rampage is good too. Rampage is
Welcome
good
to the
too.
Jungle, because that was actually like good, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But I would actually just because I watch all superhero movies, I would totally go see Black Adam movie. And I'm actually they released the trailer for the Joker movie today.
I watched that.
I don't know what to make. I honestly don't know, but I will totally see it.
If here's the thing, is the trailer look boring as fuck to me? As long as
it's just a trailer, man.
As long as they make it dark, I'm good.
Yeah.
As long as they make it dark, I'm good.
I think it will be. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna move forward.
Yeah, please.
I'm gonna move forward.
Please do.
So in 1996, the Elseworlds Kingdom Come comes out. Which is such a huge story arc,
dude. Alex Ross.
Yeah, dude. Alex Ross. Like his artwork.
Mark
in
Waid wrote it, and Alex Ross drew it. Yeah, or painted it. Drew it.
But the thing is that the artwork in that is just fucking next level. We hadn't seen any art like that yet. We hadn't seen any art like that. But the big thing about that storyline is that Lex Luthor has actually enslaved Billy Batson as an adult through Mr. Mind. So like,
it's been so long since I read it.
Well, I just recently went through it for this.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so Mr. Mind actually enslaves Billy Batson at like using his telepathy or whatever, and basically the whole thing is at that point, Shazam is a rival for Superman.
And Billy Batson was an adult by then too.
The one thing that I read is he's physically the same age as that Shazam would be.
Yeah,
you know, like his adult
muscular structure
would be the same age as Shazam.
Okay.
So like the whole thing is that Shazam has always been a rival for Superman.
Oh yeah.
Legit, just like always been a rival for him. You know, but then you bring in like the Flash and you bring in Martian Manhunter, and it's just this big fight. The whole point of Kingdom Come is to bring down fucking Shazam.
Oh, okay. Like I said, it's been so long since I read it. I remember I sold my copy off, and I kind of wish I still had it. But one of the biggest things I remember that too is like Superman and Wonder Woman actually ended up like, getting together.
Well, the whole point of that story arc is,
in fact, wasn't it the end like she was pregnant?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, spoiler alert. It's been out for like fucking over like 10, 20 years.
But like the whole point of the Kingdom Come storyline is that for the first time in comic book history, there's an equal rival for Superman.
Yeah.
And you know, and he's not in his own mind. Like Lex Luthor is controlling him. Yeah. So you know, it all comes down to a head to where Superman actually brings actually attacks Billy Batson, not Superman, and he manages to shake the mind control, and you know, like that's you guys go read that.
Yeah. No, it is one of the top 5 best graphic novels ever written.
Yeah,
hands down.
Yeah, and
it's funny because actually I think about it like best graphic novels ever written, and pretty much the only thing I can ever think of is like DC.
My favorite graphic novel,
because Watchmen is number 1 for me. Dark Knight Returns number 2.
Mine is the Killing Joke.
A Killing Joke.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Honestly, the only thing from Marvel I can think of that was like really up there is probably like Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, Marvel is lacking in putting out good like.
Not to say they don't put out good stories. Civil War was a great one.
Not that they're not good stories, good graphic novels.
Yeah.
Like I can't think of a solid Marvel graphic novel.
Yeah, DC, I think, has always put out the best stuff.
Well,
Even I have a Sandman.
I have a whole bookshelf over there of fucking Constantine fucking graphic
Sandman,
novels.
Preacher.
Preacher.
Well, that wasn't really graphic novels.
Well, we got to do Preacher one of these days, dude.
Oh, dude.
We got to do. Yeah, I know you do. we got to do Preacher one of these days.
Get back to it.
All right. So the whole thing about Infinity or shit, I'm all Kingdom Come is it's 20 years later and all the characters are older.
Yeah.
So, the story plays out and that kind of like comes to an end. And then in 2011, they do the Flashpoint Paradox.
Oh.
To where
that's right. They hadn't used him for a while either.
Yeah. So
it's been like a good 10 years or more since they really brought him in.
So in Flashpoint Paradox, his name.
But by then DC owned him.
Yeah, that way they could do whatever they want with him.
Yeah.
But when they did Flashpoint Paradox, they used one of the original concepts of Shazam, and they used Captain Thunder.
Oh, okay.
Which is a different iteration of, it's not Billy Batson. It's a completely different person, just like Batman's Thomas Wayne. But like Captain Thunder is like this relentless, so if you get into Flashpoint, like Clark Kent is like small and feeble because he's been held in a but the reigning superpower at that point is fucking Captain Thunder. So but all in all that's kind of the end of my Shazam stuff.
Well, you didn't even go into his newest origin though.
The movie.
Well, no, they did the comic after the New 52.
They did
when the New 52 came in. Because you talk about Flashpoint, and that's really when they jumped into a new one.
I tried to focus because I did 2 subjects tonight. Yeah. I tried to focus on the OG stuff.
Okay.
The OG, this is, if you don't know who this character is, hopefully listening to what I said, you can get an understanding of who he is.
Well, the New 52 didn't actually change the origin that much.
I didn't look into it.
He was still he was still an orphan kid. He was kind of a dick though, I guess at first. And then Mary Morrow and all the kind of Shazam eventual Shazam family people were there, but he was a foster kid, and he still didn't get on I think he actually went down a subway line or something. But it was still a subway, and he went down and he found this cave and found the wizard Shazam. I guess in the original comic, the wizard was actually always there to help him, but in the newer iteration, he died.
Oh, okay.
So maybe he had to figure shit out for himself. But yeah, later on in the comics, comics,
I've personally stayed away from New 52 because that shit bugs me.
Wasn't they get rid of that pretty fast, actually?
Yeah.
But he ended up giving actually I guess in the current Shazam comics they're actually really fucking good.
Oh, I would not be surprised.
I think he did end up giving his powers away to the rest of his to the foster family.
Yeah, to the Marvel family.
To the Marvel family or the Shazam family.
Yeah, which what they changed it to was the Shazam family.
Well, that was one thing too with when Timely was still doing it, they actually had a dog. It was a rabbit, I think. There was actually
you're right.
Rabbit,
yeah.
At one point, we were just like, "What the fuck?" But that just shows you how popular that was. Well, I guess he was appearing in 5 books a month, and Batman and Superman only appearing in 3 books a month.
Right.
Which just showed you how popular he was.
Well, here's the thing with Shazam. I was familiar with Superman before Shazam, but when I started reading Captain Marvel books, I enjoyed them more. I just enjoyed them more.
He's probably just more of a relatable character.
Yeah, honestly. you look at Black Adam and then General Zod. I feel like there's more of a conflict between Black Adam and Shazam.
I actually agree with that,
as opposed to Superman and General Zod,
because they kind of Zod and Superman kind of come from different worlds. Well, I mean, even though they're both from Krypton, they are from different worlds.
Well, the reason I bring that up is because it's equal against equal. But the thing is
it seems like Black Adam and Shazam were both 2 guys that kind of came from normal beginnings.
Yeah, exactly.
And I could be completely wrong because I just don't know anything about Black Adam, but they kind of came from just being normal people and became extraordinary.
Yeah, exactly. One the big thing about with Black Adam in particular. It's about wizardry. I hate to use that phrase, but Black Adam understood the magic aspect of it.
Yeah,
he understood because honestly, like I said before, all of Captain Marvel's Shazam's feats are an act of magic.
Yeah.
They're a spell, and like he understood that. That like, have you ever seen like I think they did it on one of the Justice League cartoons, a fight between Black Adam. It's the fight between Black Adam and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Superman gets owned.
Oh yeah,
he gets fucking owned, dude. And for a character like Superman to get
Black Adam I think they try to get him into what is it? I'm gonna ask you again what it was called.
Society of Evil. Yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah. Society of Evil. And he was just like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Fuck these people.
I don't need that. You know, like
because he's like, I'm better than them.
Well, like one of Black Adam's big thing is lightning.
Yeah.
You know, well, of course. You know, like his whole thing was like
he's not stupid though by any means. He's not like
he's got a dope ass suit too.
Yeah, you would actually have him though up there as like one of the top 10 best villains ever
of all time. And
like I said, even though I don't know much about him, I know he's fucking good.
Yeah, dude,
I know he can hold his own shit.
Like I've read books. I read it was called they actually recently made a new cartoon called Justice League Action. That's based off the Justice League Action comic book. And he fucking Adam owns them, and that's actually the story.
He owns Superman.
He owns all of them.
Oh,
dude.
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And the only person that comes in and changes the tide of things is fucking Shazam.
Yeah, he's the only one who's ever really beaten the fuck out of him. Honestly.
Yeah. So, but I hope
I could be totally wrong.
Well, like I went through a lot of my reading.
You're not going to see Aquaman beating the shit out of him, though.
No. Well, I went through a lot of my reading of
that possibly could have happened.
Maybe just because it's Jason Momoa. But a lot of my research is my old comic books, some Wikipedia, and just I actually last night I watched a couple episodes of the old Shazam TV show. You know, just to kind of
for research.
Yeah, well, for research.
Yeah, for research.
Because in particular for me, like I remember hanging out with my dad in the '80s, and he's like, "What do you want to watch?" It was either Batman or Shazam.
Okay.
Oh yeah, like that was like I said before, like Shazam in the old TV shows is just a brute, dude. Like he was like, I remember one episode in particular in the black and white because there was been 2 iterations of Shazam. One was black and white, and I didn't write down the black.
Well, now 3.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. I didn't write down the actor for the black and white show, but his whole I remember watching an episode of the black and white show the other night where he just fucking picks up this bad guy and throws him over a cliff.
Yeah,
he just throws him over.
Oh yeah, that's totally.
He just killed a guy.
Yeah,
he just with no thought just killed a guy.
What was the name of the city? I was just thinking it. Like
it was.
Wasn't it Fawcett City?
Fawcett City. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Named after the.
Well, Fawcett Comics.
Yeah. And it's really cool. Like one of the things you just brought up is like so many heroes are from like fictional cities. You get like Flash is from Star City. Superman's from Metropolis, Batman, Gotham, Shazam, Fawcett City. What was that?
Actually, Arrow was Star City.
No, he wasn't Star City.
Oh, or Starling City.
No, I'm drawing a blank too, but it wasn't Star City. It wasn't Star City.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Are we really doing this right now?
Yeah.
How are we drawing a blank on this shit, dude?
Yeah, I know.
I know. Like Arrow's Star City.
No. Flash is Star City.
No. Well, because it's Star Labs.
Yeah, because that's where Flash is from.
Yeah, but they renamed. I remember they renamed, at least on the TV show.
No. Flash is Central City.
Central City.
Yeah.
How did we? Somebody's probably like
they're yelling at their fucking speakers.
Probably Ronnie. Like Ronnie's like,
God.
What the fuck are you talking about?
What
like you guys better fix this.
You better fix this.
I knew it. See, I told you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But we figured it out.
Yeah. So we're we get to the movie.
So that's the end of what I have for like the OG stuff.
So that kind of got to where like we are now with like just the movie coming out.
Yeah, the movie looks great,
dude. I've heard so many good things about it.
Yeah, the movie.
And like I said,
great.
we'll probably go see it next week.
Yeah, we'll probably before the episode we'll go see it.
No, we totally will.
Yeah, and I love the actors that they have in it. I love the take that they have.
They got a good take on it.
All of the
they got rid of Zack Snyder. I guess that was what was holding everything back with DC.
Well, and like all the trailers look great.
Yeah.
I love when
I saw that first trailer, I was like, I want to see this.
Well, my favorite trailer.
DC actually looks like they put out something good.
My favorite trailer is when Shazam, Captain Marvel, walks into a convenience store. He's like, I would like your best beer.
Your finest beer. Some girl just like, yeah,
it's over there. He's like, okay. Because the thing is it's still Billy.
Yeah.
It's still in the mind of Shazam, it's still Billy.
Somebody got the humor right.
Yeah, like so. I remember like all the posters of like him chewing gum and yeah.
So wait and see.
Yeah,
so,
it's gonna be good.
You want to get into our segments? For
yes,
the night?
yes. So I'm gonna get into this day in history.
Oh, you want to go to this day in history first?
What I do this every fucking time.
You do it every time.
Then where are we going?
What you watching?
You disagreed with me before, but I watched Mortal Engines.
Yeah,
and I loved it. I watched it 3 times in one day. 3 times in one day.
I heard really bad things about it, so I'm not gonna watch it. I heard there was like one good character. It was like the android or something.
He was a Lazarus man.
Yeah, I heard that guy was really cool. But other than that, I heard the movie's fucking terrible. Like some love story which is fucking bad. And then
there's no love story in there.
No,
there's no love story in there.
I heard the books are way, way fucking better.
The big thing for me that I thought was great. There's a huge steampunk aspect to it.
Oh yeah, that's what you loved about it the most, dude.
No, it's not even. I've been out of the steampunk world for years.
You still love it.
But why I loved it, it was Mad Max taken to the next level. It's not like these cars that you try to soup up and like try to stay out ahead of the other person. Mm-hmm. It's fucking full cities. They call them traction cities. And London was called a predator city. Yeah. Because they go around and like scoop up a town and make them.
One thing I will say I'll give them this is I've heard visually it's
amazing.
It's pretty fucking awesome.
Fucking
visually.
amazing. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah. But story wise, it's supposed to be pretty fucking bad.
Take it with a grain of salt. You got to watch it yourself and decide if you like it or not.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the fuck out of it, dude.
But that's what really matters.
For me to watch a movie 3 times in one day, like I watched it by myself.
I've never ever done that in my life.
Like I watched it.
I probably never will.
I watched it by myself. Had my buddies that I live with come over and watch it. Okay. And then watched it one more time before I took it back, so I could.
See, I really rewatch movies twice.
Yeah, it was so
if
good.
I rewatch a movie twice, like after more than because I'll have like older movies I watch. I'm like I'll rewatch every like once a year, every couple of years, or some comedy like it got on Netflix. I'm like, oh, I haven't watched it in a long time. Like I'm just gonna put it on.
Well, and
I'll watch it, but if it's like a new movie, like if I watch it more than like once. If I watched it more than twice in like 2 years, I really liked it a lot.
Yeah, I get that,
and that just doesn't happen for me.
Well, and you're probably right about the
only movie I can really think of actually is probably like Infinity War.
Yeah.
And I'll probably I'll probably watch that again before I watch Endgame.
Yeah. Well, the big thing about Mortal Engines is there's different factions of people. There's the tractioners. Those are the people that live in these big cities that like roll around, and then there's aviators, and then there's miners, and like the miners are these people that like set up cities, and they're trying to because like it's like Mad Max, they're trying to mine for just things to survive, and then when a predator city rolls up, these mine cities like fold up into vehicles and take off. It's fucking badass, dude. Yeah. And like all of the aviators, they live in like blimps, and all the boats look like all the boats or the airships.
So it seems like they set up a cool world.
It's fucking, dude.
Yeah.
Do yourself.
I would honestly rather just read the book.
Well, yeah, dude. But do yourself a favor.
I'd rather like see pictures from the movie and not watch the movie and then read the book than actually watch the
You're relying
movie.
Too much on what other people say.
Yeah, but
it's a good movie, dude.
If it's like something that like they like throw on Netflix and I don't have to pay anything to watch it, it's just convenient. I'll watch it. But if I have to actually go out to like and like somewhere and rent it, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, well, I respect that. Like I rented it and was not more happy to spend $2 to watch a movie like that.
Yeah.
Like I spent.
There's some movies that are just like, okay, I'd rent that, but I wouldn't like go to the movie theater to watch it.
Well, I didn't go to the movie theater and watch it. Yeah. Like I waited till it came out, but when I got to sit down in my own home and watch it, fucking awesome experience. Yeah. So what have you been watching? So
I've been watching a lot, man. I watched the new season of Santa Clarita Diet.
I've been wanting to watch that,
dude. I love that show.
I just saw it today that it was out.
The chemistry, like of the characters on that show, like Timothy Olyphant and Drew Barrymore, and then the girl, the daughter, and the neighbor's kid.
Yeah,
they're so fucking good. And I love Timothy Olyphant. It's like he's so great, best dude, because he's always like kind of like
Like his portrayal in
he
that
always
show,
just watch his wife just kill fucking people and bring them over.
He's always like, oh God, okay,
Yeah.
this is what's happening now.
Yeah,
This is what's happening now.
in the new season, it's funny because like they're in their third season. It's only taking place over like less than a month. Honestly,
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
the whole span of the story is like less than a month.
And then they get in the whole philosophical question because she asks him like, "Hey, do you want to be with me forever?" And I'm thinking like, you've been dead for like, and yeah, you might, you can technically live forever, but like you've been like not even 6 months. Come on.
And she's falling apart.
And she doesn't.
Well, I haven't seen the third season yet.
But it's like she asked him, it's like, do you want to like, be with me forever? And he's just like, It's just like, what the fuck? It's like, come on, girl. Like, at least give him like 6 months before you ask.
Figure this out. Well, they're already married. But
yeah, but still.
That's a whole new scenario.
Because that was the whole thing. It's like, well, technically, you could probably live forever now. And I was like, yeah. Anyway, we actually get into that question on the next episode of Philosophical Bones.
That's right. Tune into that, suckers.
Coming out. If you're listening to this like anytime before Sunday, like what is that, the 5th or
7th, I think. Yeah.
The episode won't be out yet, but if you're listening to it after, it is.
We dive into that question.
We dive into that just to kind of give you a little something.
So what else have you been watching?
So, and by the way, the season 1 was just really good, and I really hope there's another season.
Yeah.
So after that, I watched the Trailer Park Boys
animated. Oh, dude, I can't even tell you how much I love Trailer Park Boys.
I love Trailer Park Boys too, but it's like, of course, it's pretty much every season is the same exact fucking thing.
Well, I love
like what's the gang gonna get into this time?
Well, I love the fact on this animated series that they wake up in a prison, in prison cell, and they're like on mushrooms, and like, we're cartoons, guys.
Yeah,
we're cartoons. Oh fuck.
And they're cartoons for the next like month.
Yeah,
I don't think a mushroom trip could technically last that long.
Well, I'm only like 4 episodes in, but he's like, it's been like a week and we're still.
Oh no, dude, it's like that. I think by the end it's been like months. I'm like, there's no way you could be on a mushroom trip that long. I don't think.
Well, and I am.
I would hope not. Even after something lasting more than like a day, I'd be like, when the fuck is this gonna end?
Well, I am unapologetic in my love.
At least like visually.
Right. Well, I'm unapologetic in my love for the Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, well, no. Like, I love them too, man.
I get people giving me shit, but like, you know what? It's fucking funny. You know, it's just fucking funny. And like, whatever. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
No, don't get me wrong. I love the Trailer Park Boys. It is the same exact thing.
Oh,
but you know what? They hit on their formula.
It's like, what's the gang gonna get into this week?
Yeah, like Always Sunny.
Yeah.
What's the gang gonna get into this week? You know, it's always be something fucked up.
And you know my love for Always Sunny.
Yeah,
I've been singing Dayman.
But you know what? It's always it's entertainment, and they hit on their niche, and I'm like, they figured out their formula, so. Good for them.
I kind of have an idea in my mind. Like they decided to go cartoon because they could do like more visually. Is like like
probably
in the first episode. In the first episode where Cody's arm comes off.
Yeah.
And one of the big.
Oh, you haven't got an episode they go to space yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, they go to space.
But one of the things I remember specifically.
Space is real, by the way. Not space is fake.
Right.
That is a thing now, by the way.
Well, one of the things that I specifically was kind of like noting, I forget the actor's name, the guy that plays Bubbles, like wearing the glasses fucked him up.
Oh yeah,
and like being able to like having to wear those all the time. So and I kind of feel like that was kind of a catalyst to like just let's do another season, but I don't fucking want to wear those fucking glasses anymore.
Yeah. Well, also it's a bit of a gap between because I think it's actually one of the most popular shows on Netflix.
Yeah. I would not.
That's one show you can always just like put on to like fall asleep to. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this.
And if you don't think it's funny, you don't think it's funny.
Yeah, it is kind of like you like it, you hate it.
Yeah,
but your own opinion.
It makes me laugh.
Yeah,
that's all I can say is it makes me laugh.
So the last thing we're gonna get into is I watched the remake of Friday the 13th last night.
Nice. You know what? I watched that a long time ago.
And I after I watched it, I was like, I don't know what to make of this. And then thinking about it more, I'm like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck?
Yeah,
because I'm a huge Jason fan. Like that's my slasher guy.
Mine is Leatherface.
That's my slasher guy is Jason.
Yeah,
and Jason is like always is slow, is always just kind of like one track mind.
Yeah,
does not have a mode.
There's no moral compass.
There's no moral compass, and it's just kill.
Yeah.
If I see this person, I'm gonna
kill him.
So in this remake. Like, okay, yeah, they do like, okay, it's Jason's mom dies, and they're like, oh yeah, Jason died, but then he came back. and some kids show up at someplace around Camp Crystal Lake, and then he just proceeds to like kill them. But first of all,
proceeds to kill.
First of all, he doesn't walk slow. He fucking runs.
That's dope, though.
And I guess he's alive at this point too.
That's dope.
For whatever
though.
reason, they never really
turn Jason into a runner.
Yeah.
What gets more
He's
scary?
fast.
What gets more scary than that?
He's fast. And apparently he only he doesn't leave Camp Crystal Lake and they have like one little like kind of scene where like, yeah, like you don't just like we leave him alone, he leaves us alone. I'm like, okay. So yeah, he does that. 2, apparently he knows archery now.
Right.
He fucking kills some guy with a bow and arrow. And I'm just like, Jason, what the fuck? Like Jason does not. That's not Jason.
He's just a motorized killing machine.
Yeah.
That's what he is. Like Jason is like I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Jason is like one of the best.
Yeah.
For me, it's Leatherface, just simply because I'm like a gore guy.
Yeah.
But like Jason, like you cannot.
And he does not like actively like go after people either.
No,
like
you're just there. He's like
if
a
you're
shark.
there, he'll go after you.
He's just like a shark. Like
if you're he's
a shark is like swimming, and you're in front of him.
But in this movie, he like actively like went after people.
Yeah, which is different.
Yeah,
it's way different than what
he's like. Oh, I caught their scent. Like I'm gonna go after them now.
No.
But then it's like, okay.
Did you like it though? Oh, folks out there, you hear that sound? Do it again.
Honestly, I'm kind of glad they didn't like go further with like doing a part 2.
Yeah.
But because it was like that was not my Jason.
No, I agree. I agree. 100%.
Because it was just
well, on the contrary note,
everything about him.
On the contrary note, I recently watched about a year ago. Yeah. Leatherface.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just go.
Oh, you know what? I watched one of those. I remember like it was like Texas Chainsaw the beginning or something.
No,
with or like the Jessica Biel one where they remade it.
That's all well and good.
I thought they did those really well.
Those were really good. But they did a movie called Leatherface.
Oh,
which was like,
no, I heard about this one.
Which was like the origin of the character.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna spoiler alert any of it all.
Yeah.
The long and the short of it is like throughout the entire movie, they're leading you to believe this specific character is going to become Leatherface, and it actually turns out to be one of his victims.
Yeah, that's just no.
No, it's badass, dude. It's fucking badass. Like he fucking maims this guy, and his face gets all like ripped up, and like he ends up like putting on this thing to, like keep his face together.
Yeah,
and then like the family, the Hewitt family, takes him in and then gives him a chainsaw.
Yeah,
dude.
Oh, and the last thing too, I'll mention and I'm totally gonna just spoil this fucking movie. But they kill Jason, and then they like.
But they kill Jason.
They kill Jason, like, but then they throw his body into the lake. Didn't cut his head off or anything. Just like we're just gonna throw his body in the lake. I'm like, first of all, I was like, why didn't you just leave him there?
Right.
Second of all, I was like, well, why are you just gonna throw his body in the lake? After he killed all these fucking people.
What does that achieve?
What does that do? And then all of a sudden, like the very last scene, out of nowhere, he pops up through like a fucking like, the deck. On the lake,
that's an homage,
and just grabs this dude.
That's an homage to the original movie.
Well, no, the original movie, this girl was in the lake, and she's just
on
like
a boat.
floating. She's on a boat because Jason has always been afraid of the water
because he drowned.
Yeah, and that was not an homage because this guy was standing on a fucking deck, and all of a sudden Jason just comes up from out of the water and just grabs him, and he's got the hockey mask on after they had taken the hockey mask off him and dropped into the water.
That's just a sheer form of plot hole.
Dude,
it's just plot hole.
I was just like, what? And it had Jared Padalecki.
Oh, that's right.
And he starred in it along with Daniel Panabaker, who is on The Flash.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, I was like, wait, she's in this? I'm like, I couldn't remember who she was until I saw her, and it was like, oh, okay. And then in that movie, by the way, tits galore.
You gotta love Jared Padalecki.
Tits galore in that movie.
You gotta love Jared Padalecki, though.
Yeah,
he was
still cool. He's the only good part of that movie.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah. So anyway,
yeah,
that's all I gotta say about that.
Well, you can't hate on Jared Padalecki.
I'm braining about a fucking movie that's been out for probably there's like 10, 11 years old.
Yeah. Well, I'm a slasher horror movie nerd.
I really want to do the topic at one point, like maybe during October, we'll do one about why there aren't any slasher killers anymore.
New slashers.
Why there aren't any slasher movies anymore?
Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Like they tried with Saw, I guess.
That really wasn't a slasher villain.
No, it wasn't.
Slasher killer.
Yeah, they don't.
Why they don't do any new ones? Because they did do that remake of Halloween, which was fucking awesome, by the way.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to 3 from Hell.
Oh, Rob Zombie, right?
Yeah,
I think it already came out.
Not yet.
Didn't they rate it NC-17?
I think so.
I thought it came out for a little bit.
No, I don't know the exact release date, but I follow it all on all of the social media stuff, and I just know that it's not out yet.
All right.
So, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Okay. So let's finally do this day in history.
Yeah.
So this day in history, in 1882, Jesse James was murdered.
Ooh, by the coward Robert Ford.
Shot him in the back of the head.
I remember that movie or that title because I saw the movie.
Yeah, shot him in the back of the head.
What was the title like The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford?
Yeah.
And still to this day, I think it's the longest movie title I've ever seen.
But I thought that one was kind of cool. But the other thing I've been doing for this segment lately is birthdays. So I have 1961 Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
1961 Eddie Murphy.
Nice.
And who out there doesn't love at least one?
How old is Eddie Murphy now?
I don't know. He was born in 1961.
Yeah, my dad was born in 61. That's why I asked.
So, I'm not sure.
I think it's like 50.
Maybe in the 60s.
Oh, it'd be like 58, maybe.
Well, my dad was born in 55, and he's 67.
Oh, 57. So 57.
57.
I think 57.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
And then the other one I have
Probably am.
The other one I have is in 1924, Marlon Brando.
Gotta love Brando.
you gotta give respect to Brando. So, but like, what's your favorite Marlon?
For a second, I was about to say like, what was he selling when he was older? But that was H.G. Wells or H.G. Wells? No, it wasn't H.G. Wells. That's the author. Oh, Orson Welles. I'm sorry, that's the one I was thinking of. Orson Welles, I think it was selling Cavassier.
Cavassier. Oh, that's right. He did a commercial where he's like, in the commercial itself, he's just fucking lit.
Yeah. Brando, I definitely have to say best movie, Godfather.
Wild one for me.
Godfather, and he was pretty awesome in Apocalypse Now, but he was like super fucked up too, I think. And he was like, he had all these demands and shit. And
well, Brando himself dealt with a lot of personal demons.
He was such a fucking diva, though. Oh my god,
diva.
Yeah, he was. He was a fucking diva. Well, you look at like Island of Dr. Moreau too.
Yeah.
And you had Val Kilmer in the mix too. That's fucking another crazy ass motherfucker.
Yeah, Val Kilmer. I loved him in Batman.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's keep this moving along, sir.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start off on Marvel's Captain Marvel.
Yeah. By the way, I think we've been ranting for more of this episode than we've done in a long time.
Was that a bad thing?
No, it reminds me of an old school like fucking Nerdy Bones episode.
Oh, yeah, it's not a bad thing though.
But better audio quality.
Yeah. Well, we usually have an audio clip to start off our topic.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't find anything because
that's fine.
Yeah, like we could have played something from the movie or whatever.
Yeah.
But the new movie we recently saw together,
this like Superman theme. That would have been funny.
we recently saw the movie together,
which
I thought was great.
Yeah,
I loved every fucking moment of that movie because the big thing about it was like all 90s references and stuff.
Well, if you want our commentary, you can go back a couple episodes, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we talked about it.
You can hear about what we thought.
So in the start, his name was Marvel.
Yeah, he had an all green suit.
All green suit, and he was a actual member of the Kree.
Yeah. What year was that? 60s.
Shit. 60. Oh, dude, I have so many numbers written here. 63.
63. Okay.
So his debut was in 63. And then he was actually created by Stan Lee and Gene Colan. Colan, yeah. It's Colan.
Yeah.
He had his debut in Marvel Superheroes #2, December 4th, 1967.
I thought he was created before that.
Well, I'm reading what I have written out now.
Okay. So 67.
67.
But they got in the trademark.
Yeah, I'm reading what I have written out now.
All right.
He was a huge push forward in the Silver Age of comic books.
Yeah.
Like he was, like you had. That
was more towards the tail end of the Silver Age, too.
Yeah, but he was one of the ones that was like a big character at the time. So you had trying to think of other Silver Age, like you had early X-Men.
Well, Spider-Man.
Well,
Marvel really developed in the Silver Age.
Right.
The only like golden age Marvel was like The original like Human Torch, Namor.
Namor the Submariner. Check that shit out, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Namor the Submariner was badass.
I wonder if one day they're gonna do Namor. They probably will.
Who do you think would play a good Namor? I would say a young fucking Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah. I don't know that. I don't even want to speculate.
Yeah, that'd be
Namor
hard.
is a crazy character.
So he was given his own series in Marvel in 1968 in Marvel Spotlight. And that's where they actually came out with Captain Marvel #1.
Okay.
And then we recently got into the dispute over the name of Captain Marvel. So in the settlement, that like with all the dispute, they ended up paying out $4,500 to get the name Captain Marvel.
That was it?
Yeah, $4,500 to get the name.
I think that was a good investment.
Well, yeah, think about it in 60s money. Like, I don't know how much that would really
Still
be.
not that much.
So to the uninitiated, let's just kind of give down.
As long as it was under like 10 grand
right.
in 60s money, I think you got a good deal. Well, even like 50 by this time, because you got to think they just made how much fucking money off of Captain Marvel
right now.
movie?
Yeah. So like to the uninitiated, let's kind of explain who Mar-Vell was.
Yeah.
He was from the Kree race, and he was actually sent to Earth as a spy to see if planet Earth was a threat or not.
Yeah, and they kind of alluded to that a little bit in the movie.
Yeah, and then basically he decided to identify with the human race. He's like, I'm gonna protect.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna let any like outside force come and hurt these people because
my own race.
Exactly. And one of the crazy things I found through my research, and I forgot, like I actually have the books, but I forgot, like he had a sidekick named Rick Jones.
Really?
Yeah. And
I'm Rick Jones, bitch.
Rick Jones, bitch.
Sorry, I had to throw that in.
And the cool thing about Rick Jones, and like there's this really long, convoluted story arc about the Kree coming through and deciding that Mar-Vell.
The Kree are dicks.
Yeah.
I'm sure if anyone saw the movie, you know, they're dicks.
Well, the Kree come through and decide that Mar-Vell is a traitor, and they sentence him to the negative zone. So he goes to
the negative zone was more Superman.
Well, that's actually what I have written out.
Oh, they actually had a negative zone. Okay.
Oh, they call it the negative and the positive zone.
Okay.
In Marvel, like what I have written out, it's from the reading I did today. It's the negative zone and the positive zone. So Rick Jones becomes his quote unquote sidekick, and they end up sharing molecules. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So there's
sounds dirty.
Well, they have these gauntlets. They have these gauntlets. If you look in the old Captain Marvel comic books, they go like this. Like you guys can't see me,
like
but
magnetic
you
bracelet.
So what happens is, okay, so Mar-Vell is in the negative zone, and when they do that, they switch places, and that's how Captain Marvel can be on Earth, like because he's trapped in this negative zone. So Rick Jones will like find something that Captain Marvel needs to like kind of like intervene on, and they have a telepathic link the whole entire time.
Okay.
So he's like, okay, Captain Marvel needs to be here, blam, and then Captain Marvel will switch places with him. And the thing is they can only switch places for 3 hours.
All right.
So when they switch places, Jones goes to the negative zone and is like encased in like this protective.
This sounds really convoluted, man.
Dude, tell me about it, dude. Tell me about all the reading that I just recently did. Yeah, dude, you tell me about it.
You're doing your research, though, man. I can tell.
Yeah. So, like, that's where Captain Marvel's original story was.
Okay.
Like, it was, he was this Kree guy.
Mar-Vell.
Yeah, he was a Kree, and then he hooked up with this guy named Jones, and then Mar-Vell gets determined that he's a traitor and gets sent to the negative zone, and then Jones comes in and blah blah blah.
Okay.
So at that point, it's so convoluted that they fucking revamp it.
That was smart.
Yeah, like they revamp it, change his costume, and that's in 1969. They change his costume, change it from the green to change it from the green.
So like the red and black,
red and black, and
white. Kind of like what the newer costume looks like.
What you would see in the movie right now.
Yeah.
What you would see in the movie right
colors.
now. Well, because like you just said, like, oh, this is hard to follow. Like, yeah, dude. Yeah. Like, yeah. Shit. So like they go in and revamp it. It runs for about 4 years. 1969. They revamp it. It runs till actual not 4 years, 1970, and they fucking cancel it. And like the thing is like I'm gonna get into this, but Captain Marvel goes through so many cancellations, and then
he was never that popular a character.
He just wasn't.
Honestly.
He just wasn't. And it's she just wasn't. But then
during that, probably during the Captain Marvel run, they invented Miss Marvel.
That's my next point.
Yeah, go then.
So
I always get ahead of you, man.
So Jim Starlin is like the writer at this point, and he does the spinoff of
the creator of Thanos, by the way.
Exactly. Does the spinoff of Miss Marvel, and she actually does pretty good.
Yeah,
she actually does pretty good. Which I'll get into in a little bit later. Jim Starlin kind of gets the idea that Captain Marvel should be a girl. But we'll get into that in a second. So he actually like goes off the radar for about 6-7 years, more than that. So from 1970, and then he has his reappearance. And the Kree Skrull War Avengers number 89, March 72.
Okay.
So he has a complete hiatus until that point, and then people are like, "Oh, who's Captain Marvel?" Like people didn't like know about him for that. Like if you didn't pick up a comic book in that much time, you're like, who the fuck's Captain Marvel?
You're right.
So like he comes back into he at this point comes into the Avengers, the Kree Skrull War. And he kind of gets a resurgence in like popularity, and they cancel him again. So that's the thing is he keeps coming back and they keep canceling him. So and then Jim Starlin comes back in 1980, creating Marvel's very first graphic novel, very very first graphic novel called "The Death of Captain Marvel."
Oh yeah. I think I remember that cover actually.
Yeah. And that is the introduction of Carol Danvers.
Yeah.
So that's where we're, that's kind of like bringing us up to like today.
How did Carol Danvers got her powers by?
She was the movie did a big.
She absorbed her.
Well, in the comic book, he passes the powers on.
Yeah.
He like passes it on.
Like
to her.
He's dying and he passes the power.
Yeah, exactly. And there was and I was doing some reading, and there was a lot of characters. For like through the late 80s, late 70s, early 80s that took up the mantle of Captain Marvel. Yeah. And Danville is the one that like stuck. Danvers, Danvers is the one. It was like Marvel Danville. Is the one that like stuck. Yeah. So that.
And I just want to mention at one point, you might have written this down, but at one point, Rogue from the X-Men takes her powers.
Absolutely. That's how she gets her flight powers.
Yeah, that's how she gets pretty much all her powers.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
But at one point, I guess, Carol gets her powers back. Yeah. There was a whole convoluted thing in the 80s with her, and it was like some guy ended up taking her or something during like Secret War.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Or it was like during an Avengers, and it was considered one of the worst issues, pretty much the worst issue ever of the Avengers. Okay, wow. They get super convoluted, man.
That's what like.
I'm just rubbing my head like, oh my god.
It's like earlier when I was talking about like the early, because I read so many, like doing research for this episode.
Yeah.
Read so many early Captain Marvel stories. It's just fucking too much.
Yeah.
It's like too much.
Yeah.
So
I get it. Even me just talking about it, I'm like, from watching videos, I'm like, God, she's like, Jesus Christ. Like, fuck, man. Like, just too much crazy shit happened to this person.
So through about
the mantle.
Yeah, like so through like 20 years of from the point we just left off from, 20 years of just convoluted bullshit.
Yeah.
So and then 2008, the big resurgence of Captain Marvel was.
She was probably gone for a while too by that point.
Yeah, the big resurgence.
Well, they probably still had her around, but
she was
not
there.
She was there, but she wasn't like that, and she also still had that old costume. That kind of onesie,
but the
costume.
The big resurgence of Captain Marvel was in the Secret Invasion 2008. Yeah, and that was like the Skrulls coming.
That's when she became a legit hero. Like, yeah, like again, because I think of like Civil War. Or like I think of just the costume she was wearing. Like she was wearing like kind of a mask, and then like
that was also written.
And then like kind of like a onesie type, or not really. I'm saying onesie, but I'm like more like the kind of one piece like bathing suit and like type with a kind of S. thing on it.
Yeah.
And that was, and with the blonde hair, and that was like you kind of just looked at her like, okay, like, oh yeah, that's Captain Marvel.
But she could she could lay down the Hulk with one punch.
But you were still kind of like, whatever, she's just like, oh yeah, that's Captain Marvel. Okay.
Well, she could lay down the Hulk with one punch though.
But you still just didn't think much of her, and she honestly really. She wasn't that interesting, but yeah, like you said, like 2008, right?
2008, yeah.
That's when she became interesting. And
exactly.
I sound so bad saying that.
That's okay.
That's when she became interesting. It's like I'm trying to say like,
it's because
she's a woman. She didn't become interesting.
No, it's the writing of the stories.
I would say this about a male character too. It's like if you had like the Hulk, and he was just kind of there and just like that guy, and like okay, he just beats guys up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he wasn't that interesting.
Well, it's the writing of the stories.
But yeah, that's actually the way I wanted to get into. It was like, okay, like when they changed her character up and made her like a fucking hero, like a super serious, like.
Well, it's like when the next thing.
Awesome feminist, like fucking badass, like woman.
Well, the big thing is when she comes into what I have next is when she does Civil War II.
Okay, yeah, please go on.
Civil War II. Civil War II is an amazing story arc. I do not have it in my mind enough to do it justice.
Yeah.
But if you guys have not read Civil War II, she's the standout. She's the standout. She basically takes place.
All it takes is one good writer to really bring a character back.
Like, and I'm not gonna do it any injustice by even starting. Like, you guys need to read this. Like, I've read it through a couple times, and I do not.
Because there are a ton of horrible like comic characters out there, but if you get one good like writer out there who takes a character and makes it fucking awesome,
well,
you can really like just. I don't know.
Well, you could take any character. You could take Ant-Man. You could take Ant-Man and like do an amazing
Well, no,
story.
Ant-Man was actually one of those second tier. Actually, that's a good example. Ant-Man was a very second tier character where you're like, whatever. And somebody took him and they made him fucking awesome. Hawkeye is actually a good example too.
Exactly.
Somebody took Hawkeye.
I'm excited to see his role in Endgame.
And like they actually, I think it was recently, and I've wanted to read the series for a long time. Just never had the money to buy the book, or I haven't the money yet. But anyway, but they made Hawkeye like kind of a ground level like awesome character.
I love that phrase.
I love that phrase because he was always kind of a joke, and they're like you just never really gave a shit. So it was kind of the same way with Captain Marvel for years.
What was Hawkeye's name? What was
Clint Barton.
Clint Barton.
But it took somebody like taking this character, like I really want to do this character justice, make him fucking awesome.
Just make it good.
And they made him fucking awesome.
And that's what happened. That's what happened with Captain Marvel.
Yeah, to lead it back in.
Yeah, that's what happened with Captain Marvel. So like I kind of jumped ahead about Civil War II. Mm-hmm. The one that made the readers start picking up the book again was 2011. It was called Chaos War: Dead Avengers.
Okay.
And that's the one where Carol gets her just rise to stardom because she gets to show her power set. She gets to save, like she saves the Black Panther, she saves Captain America. Like there's like Dead Avengers is such a crazy ass story. You know, like have you ever read Dead Avengers?
No.
Dude, oh my god. Like Spider-Man dies and like there's all this, it's this whole convoluted shit. But like that's kind of where I want to like I'm gonna go through Carol's power set and then that's kind of like the end of what I have.
Okay.
But like it's without Captain Marvel, the Avengers would be a completely different thing. It's not a bad thing that she came in late.
I kind of like the fact they did that.
Yeah, and because
they didn't all of a sudden give them like a Superman, like let's just send Captain Marvel or let's just send Carol to go.
It's just her end all be all. This is a character that can beat everything.
Yeah.
You know. But like,
she's like the MacGuffin, I guess.
The MacGuffin.
I guess. It's like, why are we gonna go fight this guy? Like, let's just send fucking Captain Marvel. Like, she'll just go beat him up in like 10 seconds. It's done.
It'll just be over before it even starts.
Yeah, right.
But like the thing is like with Captain Marvel, you got to respect the origin of the convoluted bullshit to what we have now. Because you and I, we enjoyed that movie, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like it. And we both have an understanding of who she was.
But I want to say, like, I just wanted to throw this in there, is her cat in the comic is actually named Chewie.
Chewie.
After Chewbacca.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. That's so good, man. Like, I just really hope you guys enjoyed my take on these two guys, on these two characters.
Yeah.
You know, like, because I went down to the nitty gritty of, like, who they were when they started. Like,
who do you like more?
Shazam. I was gonna say Captain Marvel, but like it
I actually have to agree.
Yeah, because Shazam's just cooler, man.
I think
he's gone toe to toe with Superman.
Yeah.
He's gone toe to toe.
I think he's more relatable.
Yeah,
personally, to us.
Well, yeah,
just because because we're kind of like kids at heart.
Well, yeah.
Also, we're not. Well, I mean, not to kind of be this way, but we're not women.
Right.
And one thing that is cool that
nothing taken away from.
One thing I actually do love about Captain Marvel is the fact that like I really like the fact that there's more like female superheroes out there to really inspire like girls to like hey, I'm a fucking strong ass fucking woman. I can beat the shit out of any guy. Because like I was at a friend of mine's house a couple weeks back. And her roommate's daughter, like a 4-year-old daughter, she had a little Supergirl outfit.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, that's fucking badass to me.
Who would you think? Who would you think?
And by the way, her name was Dorothy.
Dorothy.
Yeah.
Who would you think is the one of the best like female heroes?
The first one that comes to mind is Wonder Woman.
Mine is Zatanna.
Zatanna? Oh, dude, I love Zatanna.
Yeah, mine's Zatanna.
Yeah.
That's just like what pops into my head. Like Zatanna's pretty badass. And there's I'm drawing a blank at the character's name, but she's in the DC universe that she can take on the form of any animal. You know what I'm talking about?
I can't think of it.
Yeah, dude. People out there are gonna be like, "Oh, guys," like because she's got like this amulet that can like take on, like she can take.
No, you're talking about like from like Legends of Tomorrow and stuff. Oh God, not Cheetah. No, Cheetah was a villain. I think it's actually the next villain.
Dude, that's gonna drive me crazy.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later.
But yeah, she's badass. Hot Girl's badass.
Hot Girl, yeah.
And trying to think of one real solid female superhero.
Scarlet Witch. Dude.
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch is badass.
No more mutants.
Yeah.
No more mutants.
Yeah. Anybody reads comics who's listening to this, they know what I'm talking about. What we're talking about.
Yeah, no more mutants. Is that House of M?
Yeah, that was House of M, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fucking great
yeah.
story.
So I think we had a good episode tonight, brother.
Yeah.
You got anything else you want to throw in?
Not really much I can think about. I just want to say, yeah, we're doing next week. We're gonna.
I'm very excited about this.
We're talking about the Camino de Santiago, which is a very personal one for me. Probably the most personal subject we've talked about before.
And then the week following, we're gonna have a guest, Tony, which you guys have heard before.
Yeah, we're doing
History of Metal, fucking Sign of the Devil. It's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good.
Shout at the devil.
Shout.
Little Mama Crew at the
end. Well, you guys, thank you for joining us again.
Yeah.
And just, guys, hit us up. Any topics you want to hear.
Yeah, that'd actually be fun to get a fan topic.
Yeah. So, are you ready, brother? Nerdy Bones. And we're out.